In the most recent balance patch, Singelica got buffed, and part of her buff is that her S1 now has defense break instead of attack down. And this opens up the possibility for a 3-man Wyvern one-shot, which in terms of win rate isn't super practical because now our only sources of death break are Singelica S1 and Rem S1. The problem is without a dual attacker here in this 4th slot, it means that you're missing out 2 S1's worth of damage from Rem. So if you miss this initial death break from Singelica, you're just not going to have enough damage to kill the boss. So the win rate at base Singelica's S1 unmolded is 65%. So factoring in 15%, it's a 55% win rate. And then if you do mold her S1, which I didn't bother doing, it's 63.75%. So of course you're going to fail a lot of runs when you're doing this, but it does open up this 4th slot, which you could use for friendship farming or EXP farming if you need that. So I could just put my newly gotten Shirun from the headhunt into here, and I can get her to friendship 10. So we can take a look at the stats real quick, and also I'm just showing Shirun, she has no imprint yet, so there's no bonus attack percent being given by her. So first up for Singelica, Warhorn, of course, as the artifact is better. I'm just using my Warhorn for other stuff. So I have Super Duper Water Shooter on her for now. And then her EE, she has one that gives her effectiveness, which is nice because it makes the stat requirements on her much lower. So you don't even need 15% effectiveness in order to hit the 65 cap. And you want 200 FRS as usual to not get stripped by Wyvern. One thing is that the speed tuning was a bit more precise in the old teams because you needed your Deathbreaker to cut Singelica ideally. We don't have a Deathbreaker this time. She is our Deathbreaker, so your Singelica speed actually doesn't matter. You do want to go ahead of your SSB, and you can actually make Singelica faster now, as long as she's below, I think it was 230 speed. 230 speed or lower is fine, so that she won't cut ahead of Wyvern at the start of Wave 2. And if you make Singelica a little bit faster, you could make your SSB a bit slower than normal as well. But basically, it's just go before SSB, not too fast to cut Wyvern, 15 effectiveness, and 200 effect resistance. Next up is SSB. SSB, she has her S2EE, which makes her a bit easier to gear. I gave her Destruction Torrent sets, and with Daydream Joker, because I think it's pretty easy to one-shot Wave 1 now with without using a damage boosting artifact. So we just go Daydream Joker instead to help make killing Wave 2 a bit easier. You do still want about 182 speed as usual. You could go a little bit slower if you make your Singelica faster. Because with Singelica being faster, your SSB would have speed buff for a longer duration of time, so she'd move past the mobs even if she's a little bit slower. Last up is Rem. So Rem, you pretty much put your best Rage Pen gear on her. This is a little bit below my best because I'm using some of the pieces in other units, but it's just Rage Pen gear with DDJ. One thing to note is that she used to have a speed requirement, which doesn't matter anymore because our Deathbreaker before was Ken and Wyvern or Camellia. And Wyvern has a passive that gives it 10% CR when a non-ice unit takes a turn. Since that non-ice unit is not taking a turn anymore, it's not going to push up, and you actually don't care about the speed on Rem. So your speed can be as low as you want. 85 crit chance, as much crit damage and attack as you can with Rage Pen gear. And I'm actually going to switch to my best Rage Pen gear just so we can see the damage real quick. Yeah, so I can get a good bit more of damage here. And then now we can take a look at a run.
모두에게 적의 숨을 끊어라. 힘을 나눠줄게.
이 싸움도 슬슬 질리네요. 잘 가요. 빠질 생각은 없어요.
도와줄래?
So as you can see, it works fine as long as you land that initial death break, which the odds are not fantastic, but like I said, this is basically if you're trying to maximize for friendship farming and you have time or just not a lot of energy to burn, then you could use this. I'm only doing hunts really because Rift is gone, and also for the Hero's Path, I figured I might as well do that while Rift isn't here. So I'll be using this 3-man one-shot myself, just because might as well get some friendship farming in. If your Rem gear is really good, I think it is possible to make it so that Rem's S1 or Singelica's S1, those first two, either one death break, could finish your run. For reference, this is a run I got where I missed the initial S1 with Singelica, so you can see here how close the kill was. So a bit better gear on Rem could do it. Or on SSB, because SSB could also be using pen set. I realize I gave her Torrent, but she probably would use pen better because you're not going to need the extra damage to kill wave 1. So extra damage on Wyvern itself would probably be better. So yeah, those are just a couple of things to factor in. Plus my Singelica was on Super Duper Water Shooter instead of Warhorn. Anyways, hopefully anybody who wants to get a little bit of friendship farming in while Rift's gone can make use of this.